Oh, hi. So let's chat about baked beans. Now, I've spent my entire life living in New England, northern New England specifically, but more on that later. And for me, the standard breakfast experience includes eggs, of course, toast, always, preferably wheat for moi, but you do you. Pancakes or French toast or some shit's optional. And then if you want your meat option, you get your bacon or sausage. But to me, the most vital breakfast side has always been baked beans. I'm a toast dipper, so I get my eggs over easy, and then I'll stab the shit out of the yolk so it gets all runny, dip my toast in it. But that's not like a ton of liquid, because you usually get like 2 eggs. But then we move on to the beans. Honestly, I could probably give or take the beans themselves. It's the sauce that they're in. Ugh! You guys, I had no idea that this was just a here thing. Well, not just New Hampshire. I'm specifically from southern New Hampshire. I don't know if that makes a difference. And it's not like baked beans were invented in southern New Hampshire, but I have had an impossible time trying to get beans with my breakfast on any of my travels, and it's always a disappointment. But what has intrigued me is the reaction people get when I ask for beans for breakfast, because normally they're like, this isn't a barbecue joint. They look at me like I'm asking for a side of cornbread and ribs with my toast and eggs. But if you're watching this and are or aren't from this area, please, please, please let me know what the deal is with baked beans where you are, because this is fascinating. So as I've been mentioning, location seems to be a big factor in whether or not baked beans are served for breakfast. From what I can tell from my own travels and like the most obvious, beans on toast with a full English or Irish breakfast. And parts of French Canada do it, aka Montreal, aka the only part of Canada I've been to. I've had them in Maine, at least southern Maine. I haven't gone too far up into the state. Vermont doesn't seem to do it. Southern and western Mass doesn't seem to do it. And I can't find baked beans any fucking where in Connecticut. Rhode Island, I'm sorry, I'm like never in you and never before noontime. But please let me know what you do with beans. So the other bean factor here is the flavor profile, where the beans I get with my breakfast are like so sweet. Whereas most recipes I found for like barbecue style whatever are more of a savory profile. Is profile like the most pretentious word to add when you're talking about food? A lot of the southern recipes use mustard as a base, and I can't think of a worse way to ruin beans. I even tried some baked beans at a Bojangles when I was in North Carolina because it came as a side with my chicken and biscuits, but they're like Cajun style, which is fine, but not breakfast beans. So from the digging around I've been doing on the internet, the style of beans I get with my breakfast are like a Quebecois style, like French Canada, very maple syrup infused, which makes sense because Canada, P.S. New Hampshire and Vermont also have pretty good maple syrup. And there is a massive French Canadian population in the town that I grew up, so that tracks, specifically from Quebec. Thanks, milliards during the Industrial Revolution. Of course, there's Boston baked beans, which are kind of a mix of sweet and savory in my experience. They're like a molasses base, but they also throw some pork in there to add some saltiness. They may be indistinguishable to some people as far as like they're either sweet or they're not, but those beans feel like a different animal to me. And something I haven't tested yet seem to be like the OG breakfast beans, which are the ones that go with a full English or a full Irish breakfast. So we're gonna try some motherfucking beans. Side note, can we talk about this label color? My millennial ass loves this aesthetic. Did I use that properly in a sentence? Okay, to the kitchen. Okay, welcome to the kitchen. We're facing this way because it's better lighting, but the stove's over there. Oh, actually, we're just gonna microwave these. It's gonna be, they just need to be warm. You could technically eat these out of the can, and I have, just like Dennis the Menace under that bridge with that homeless man. Is that a real movie moment that happened? Bizarre that it's the same color. I mean, maybe it's like ketchup bottles are all red, although that's because ketchup is red. Beans are not this color. Okay. Anyways, let's give these some heat. Got some bowls. I should pick different color ones. Oh, also, almost as important as the beans, is I gotta start making some toast. Now when I go out to eat, I get wheat bread, but I don't eat just like slices of bread most of the time when I'm home. But Lego boyfriend fucking loves potato bread, so that is gonna be the dipping mechanism for today. I do have to say, potato bread makes the best French toast because it's so nice and dense, it really soaks up the egg. All right, let's open these babies. Thankfully they have little flip top lids. God, can we talk about how long my nails are right now? It makes doing stuff like this pretty easy. So I did read that these are tomato based, but like look at that color, where like most baked beans are kind of that like brown. You guys, I'm so excited about this. Here are our British baked beans. That was way too difficult to say. Here are our Bachelor's Irish baked beans. These are also red. Ooh, I'm glad I didn't pick the same dish for both of these. Maybe it's the same shit. Okay, English, Irish. Let's heat them up. I'm gonna give those 3 minutes just to give them some extra oomph. But it's not like I'm heating up a whole can. And I did hear the toaster pop, so again, in traditional diner fashion, I'm gonna butter the toast because, ow, God, there's a table right here. I swear, I've only been drinking coffee this whole time. I mean, usually it's done with butter and not, I don't, is this margarine? It's vegan butter. I don't know, we just use it now. That's what happens when you have a lot of vegan friends over. You just start using vegan things. Yeah, toast! You know how everyone has that like thing they don't like to do around the house? For some people it's sweeping or vacuuming or emptying the dishwasher. I don't mind any of that shit. One of the things I hate doing the most is spreading butter or cream cheese on things. I'm bad at it, it always goes poorly, it's never even. It always is better when someone else does it. And I've spent my whole life doing this and it has not gotten any better. So I just need to get that off my chest. All right, microwave beeped. I put those on for way too much time. So while I'm waiting for those to cool a little bit, I'd like to rank some breakfast sides for you. Now, not any breakfast sides. For those of you that don't know, I just finished a 2-week-long road trip from New Hampshire to North Carolina and then back. And I got to try lots of food I had never had before. So I have 4 items. I'm gonna rank them favorite to fucking abomination. So the top position is held by chicken and waffles because duh. So good. I didn't put syrup on it because I knew I was gonna be driving as shown here while eating them. So I didn't want them to be too sticky, but I did get a little carry-out container of the gravy and it was just heavenly. 10 out of 10, recommend chicken and waffles. Even like vegetarian fake chicken, you know, chick apostrophe N would be super good with this, I would imagine, because it's like kind of sweet. Second place goes to grits, specifically garlic grits, which I technically had in Atlanta last year, but had again on this road trip, and they're just really good. It's like a more savory breakfast side. The one caveat is that they have to be piping hot and not once they start to cool down and get that like congealed viscous texture to it. Third place, I guess this is tied for second, are potato browns. My big question is, why that name? Although I guess, why not that name? They were delicious. It's just a fried mashed potato, home fry situate, like, I'm not sure how they're made, but they were very good with a bunch of ketchup on there. And in 10,000th place, below any other food item I've ever consumed, is scrapple. I cannot believe I put this in my body. Now this is how I've been describing scrapple to people. You know how they use whatever leftover bits for sausages? Hence that phrase about seeing how the sausage is made is just like, it's kind of horrifying knowing what's in there. Well, the parts that aren't good enough to go in the sausages seem to be what they use for scrapple. The one credit I will give it is how it was cooked at this place in Baltimore. P.S. Since when is Baltimore south of the Mason-Dixon line? This fucked me up. I thought it was like Virginia or further down. Very confusing. Anyways, so at this place in Baltimore, it must have started in like a loaf shape because I cut a very, very thin slice of it and then fried it both sides, so it did have like a nice crispy texture outside, but the taste, oh God, the horror. I survived. I did feel super ill a couple hours after eating it, which, lemon body, I am not surprised. But at least I can check that off the list of things I never wanted to try. Okay, bean time. Irish beans, I remembered. Whew, that was close. British beans. Do the dip test first. This is my shit, you guys. You just get your toast right in there. Yeah, it smells like tomato soup. Now, I don't hate it. I do feel like I need to be dipping a grilled cheese in this though. That's pretty much the only time I eat tomato soup is if I'm using it to dip grilled cheese in. It is very bizarre. I mean, I know there is like some amount of sugar in tomatoes, so there's that like sweetness you get, like you would with a carrot soup or something, but this is not equating with baked beans in my head. I'm gonna try a scoop of the actual beans. Fuck, this is still too hot. Well, one other little fun fact I learned in my research was that around these parts, they do cook baked beans in a hole in the ground overnight or over the course of 2 days. And there's gotta be a better way, guys. I guess With how hot it is now, I have been avoiding putting the oven on, so maybe doing that outside would be the move. Okay, bite time. This, again, is not bad, but it's not what I want. The other thing is the sauce isn't really sticking to the beans. I don't know if you'd see this or if this matters to you. It's just very soupy. I feel like I have to stop at a French Canadian diner to like show you guys what my beans are like. Okay, on to the Irish. Well, this seems to have gotten thicker after getting heated up. I have the weakest arms. There seems to be more happening with the Irish ones. It's still very tomatoey, but there's just more complex flavors. Watch them be all the exact same ingredients. Oh, okay, so this has more like spice to it. It's funny too, because these 2 cans cost me almost $5, and most of that was for the English ones. Maybe because that's a known name brand here, I don't know. These are just not flavor combinations I think I've had before, at least in a breakfast capacity, but I'm very much enjoying these Irish ones. So, sorry English breakfast beans. My follow-up question is, do people in England and Ireland use these beans for barbecue foods? Are barbecues a thing? Then maybe that's it. That seems very American. So yes, obviously, this is a very fascinating topic to me. However weird it is, learning about baked beans was kind of like a side quest on my road trip, and fucking nobody outside of where I live had them for breakfast, and it made me very sad. But I got to experience other stuff, which was cool. Oh, I didn't do the spoon test. Now there is a variety in the actual beans they use in different kinds of baked beans, where I think like Boston baked beans are generally navy beans. At least the ones I've had. I'm sure there's like a very specific traditional thing, but any recipes I've read or like the ones people have made for me have been like the dark beans. Where these don't specify, but like pinto beans are lighter colored, right? What are you? Delicious is what you are. All right, I'll see you guys with something next week. Also, don't forget to tell me about your thoughts on beans. I'm very interested, obviously. Oh, have I not been recording on my fucking Zoom? Motherfucker. Sorry if the audio is so different for this part.